The screech of metal tore through the morning like a chainsaw through silence. I climbed out of my truck, grocery bags in hand, and froze. There was Victor, the HOA's self-styled enforcer, hunched over my garage door with bolt cutters, sparks flying like he was cracking a bank vault. His face was a sweaty mix of glee and spite, a petty tyrant savoring his moment. My garage, federally certified, climate-controlled, and locked tighter than a prison, was half open, its steel lock mangled. The milk carton hit the pavement. Victor didn't know he just turned a neighborhood squabble into a federal crime. Retired didn't mean defenseless, and he was about to learn that the hard way. I walked up, heart pounding, as he pried at the door. "I'll believe VYS." The camera above blinked red, recording every move. When he finally saw me, he straightened, brandishing the cutters like a trophy. "This VYOLAT's HOA standards," he sneered. "Unapproved mods, suspicious storage, maybe illegal acti VY tie." I stared, disbelief edging into rage. "Are you brain dead or just illiterate? You broke into a federal EVY Denke locker." He laughed, thinking I was bluffing. "Look inside," I said. He did, and his smug grin vanished. The garage wasn't a man cave, it was a fortress of steel cases, DOJ tags, and a biometric scanner glowing blue. Firearms, bagged and locked, lined one wall. This was a place where mistakes got you blacklisted. Victor stammered. "Is this legal?" I stepped closer. 25 years, DOJ EVY Denke control. This is a certified site, Victor. Active case EVY Denke, chain of custody sealed. You just committed felony trespass. I pointed to the camera. And it's all on tape, auto-uploaded. The cutters hit the ground like they burned him. I opened the door properly, fingerprint. Pianan stepped into the cool, humming air. My phone triggered an alert to my DOJ contact. Victor stood outside, frozen, like he'd robbed a museum and tripped the alarm. 10 minutes later, a black SUV rolled up. 2 agents, suits crisp, earpieces active, stepped out. Victor's face drained of color. "Mr. Harlan," Agent Pierce said, nodding to me. I gestured at Victor. "He's your guy." Broke the lock, tried to enter. Victor babbled. "I didn't know." Pierce cut him off. "You're not under arrest yet. We need you downtown." Neighbors peeked from windows, phones recording as Victor was led to the SUV, the second agent bagging the cutters with gloved hands. "Old Mrs. Clara, sipping tea across the street, gave me a sly nod and a slow clap. I smirked, but this wasn't over. Victor was a pawn, and I knew who held the strings: Cassandra Reed, the HOA's queen bee with a clipboard and a vendetta. If she'd sent him, she'd just kicked a hornet's nest. I swapped the lock for triple-layered steel, checked the feeds, and sat on my porch with a beer. Inside that garage were files, some active, some tied to powerful names. If Cassandra was behind this, she'd opened a door she couldn't close. The next morning, my phone pinged with a neighbor's screenshot from the HOA chat. Cassandra claimed Victor was on a routine inspection, calling the incident overblown misinformation. I nearly spat my coffee. Felony trespass wasn't a misunderstanding. A kid delivered an HOA letter citing VY soil disharmony and unauthorized modifications. Laughable, except it showed Cassandra was doubling down, spinning lies to shield her power. I'd already sent the footage, timestamps, and site certification to the sheriff, my DOJ liaison, and a reporter friend. Cassandra didn't know I wasn't just a cranky retiree. I had contacts and a paper trail. When I moved here, her welcome basket came with a highlighted HOA manual. I burned it. That made me her enemy. My untrimmed hedges, my refusal to use approved mulch, my absence at her potlucks demarked me as a rebel. Victor was her attack dog, but with him in custody, she was exposed. That afternoon, my old DOJ buddy, Leo, dropped by. "Heard you scared the HOA witless." He grinned. "They're burying it," I said, pouring whiskey. "Cassandra's calling it a mix-up." Leo opened his laptop. "Then we bury her with facts." We drafted a response, citing federal statutes, my site's clearance, and a cease and desist for harassment, with CIVYL suit sprinkled in. Leo's legal polish made it a guillotine. My reporter friend ran a story. "Retired Fed's garage is FBI vault, HOA faces fallout." It exploded online, picked up regionally. I went from hedge guy to the man who exposed HOA overreach. Cassandra's vague HOA statement full of "we respect privacy" fluff flopped. Neighbors flooded the comments, airing grievances, fines for blue umbrellas, banned wind chimes. The rebellion was brewing. That night, my side camera caught a man in an HOA polo measuring my mailbox. I leaned out. "Got a warrant?" He nearly dropped his clipboard. "Just a lot assessment," he mumbled. "Sure," I said. "Next time, bring your own tape measure." He fled. It was Todd, the guy who'd banned a neighbor's hammock. Cassandra was probing, desperate to discredit me. Next morning, an HOA notice claimed my unauthorized roof antenna part of my EVY Denke uplink. County Aprava was a violation. I emailed Cassandra the permit, CCING the news outlet. No reply. That evening, foam insulation coated my garage base petty vandalism. The camera caught a masked figure, SUV matching Todd's. I sent the footage to the sheriff, taped a still to the garage with "Try harder" and "Brace for war." This wasn't about rules, it was a battle of EVY Denke versus ego, and I had the law. Days later, a DOJ compliance officer, Agent Wells, arrived for a mandatory re-VYEW. He inspected every tag, log, and shelf, pausing at a drawer labeled Operation Thorn. "Why is that familiar?" he asked. My skin prickled. Thorn was a decade-old corruption case, land scams, ghost permits, vanished witnesses. It had stalled, but my garage held its last physical files. "It's active again," Wells said. New whistleblowers had re-VY-vet it, and my files were key. I transferred the digital logs and duplicates. Wells paused. "Who runs your HOA?" I said. "Cassandra Reed." He repeated her name, his tone heavy. "Interesting." My gut twisted. Later, digging through old drives, I found Thorne's notes. Cassandra's ex-husband was linked to shell companies tied to the case, some matching our sub-EVY Shounds permits. This wasn't random. Cassandra wanted my files buried. Her VY Sewell Standards crusade was a cover. That night, I attended the HOA's poolside meeting, flash drive in pocket. Cassandra's smile faltered as I sat beside Mrs. Esther, the board's quiet sage. When Cassandra started her spiel, I stood. One word: Operation Thorn. The room froze. A glass clinked. I plugged in the drive and projected permits, aliases, and financial trails tying Thorn to our HOA's origins. "The DOJ's digging again," I said. "Interference is obstruction. If you're clean, you're safe." Cassandra gripped the podium, speechless. Esther nodded like she'd waited years for this. I left as the meeting collapsed. Neighbors whispered, snapped photos. Cassandra didn't follow. At home, I checked the feeds and sat in the dark. Thorne's files weren't just EVY density, were a fuse, and I'd lit it. The neighborhood shifted. People waved, some with respect, others uneasy. Emails poured in, stories of Cassandra's fines, threats, even harassing a deaf widow over TV noise. I forwarded them to Leo. "It's cracking," he replied. My tech-savvy neighbor, Riley, traced the FOMA tax SUV to an HOA fund, and found a login attempt on my cams from Cassandra's office. Digital trespass. We printed everything. The county launched an HOA audit, a board member quit, another distanced themselves. Esther, on a Zoom call, called out Cassandra's unchecked spending. Her empire was crumbling. Then, someone tried the garage again. Crowbar, mask, no subtlety. My new VY Brat ion sensors triggered. Agents arrived in 8 minutes, cuffing another HOA lackey, Greg, who faked a dog walk. Desperation reeked. Leo Riley and I met with county and DOJ officials, handing over VY Deos, logs, and Thorne's ties. The case was now bigger than me. That week, Cassandra was charged with federal interference and fund misuse. Victor, cutting a deal, detailed her orders, the break-in, phone, and harassment. The neighborhood threw a block party. Kids ran, grills smoked. Esther poked me with her cane. Took you long enough. Cassandra's house went dark. She'd left to reassess. A DOJ letter thanked me for VYing Thorne, now a multi-county fraud probe. My name was noted as a CIVY lien asset. I pinned it in the garage beside Thorne's log. Days later, Victor appeared, sheepish, with beer and his DOJ statement. I got caught up, he mumbled. Wanted to matter. I took the beer. You mattered, all right. He'd named Cassandra in every scheme. I didn't forgive, but I respected the honesty. The HOA dissolved, reformed with Esther's input. I declined a board seat but had VY set on transparency. One day, Esther brought brownies, saying Cassandra feared exposure. She ruled to hide her weakness. That night, a box appeared by the garage, the broken lock, with a note. You win. I stored it as EVY Denke. Weeks later, the HOA newsletter featured recipes, not fines. I added a plaque to the garage. Honor the lock. No one touched it. I taught forensic classes, the HOA saga, a student favorite. The neighborhood wasn't just house, it was a community, forged when one man said no. Cassandra thought rules were power, but truth, with cameras rolling, was louder.
If you were the one in this story, how would you react? Would you stand up and fight back, or accept the unreasonable pressure and control from the HOA? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this VY Deo with more people. Your small action gives us the motivation to keep bringing you more intense and engaging stories. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next VY Deo.